Custom audiences are a powerful way to directly target your customers and prospects on Facebook. You can set up a custom audience through your Ads Manager, and you can always find Ads Manager on the right drop-down menu of your Facebook account, and then by selecting Manage Ads. Once you're there, you can choose audiences from the top menu. You'll find that under the Assets column. You can see here that I'm on an audiences dashboard, and we're going to have the option here to start creating a custom audience ourselves. It's at this point that you're going to need to start thinking about where your custom audience data is coming from. And let's take a look at a couple of different ways and sources. Your first step will be to choose Create Audience. And from the drop-down menu, we're going to select Custom Audience. Here we can see all the different ways that you can create an audience. First, we have your sources. So these are sources that you own, like your website, app activity, customer list, and even offline activity. Then the second option is to use Facebook sources. So say someone filled out a lead form on Facebook, attended an event, or liked your Facebook page. So those are Facebook sources that we can create a custom audience from. Let's take a look first at your sources. So for the first option is website. So you can create an audience of your website visitors, and this is huge. You are going to need something called the Facebook Pixel installed, and Facebook will walk you through those specific details. With that Facebook Pixel, you'll be able to reach people that take specific actions, such as adding an item to your cart, filling out a form, or landing on a specific page. And from there, you can create a custom audience or build an audience around that activity. The second option is a customer list or customer file. This is where you'll upload a file to Facebook, and then they'll scan the database to match that information you provide with the Facebook users. This information can either be an email address, a phone number, a user ID, or a mobile advertiser ID. The most common type of data format to provide is a CSV file, and Facebook will want your data in one single column with one record per row. This is your opportunity to upload, for example, your email list and create an audience around that. App activity. So this is creating a custom audience for an app, and it's very similar to website traffic, but you're going to have a little bit of different criteria. It's here you can choose to track anyone who's opened the app, your most active users, users by purchase amount, or users by segment. And offline activity is something we don't often think about. So here you can create audiences based from offline events. So this can be different types of people who've interacted with your business in store, over the phone, or through other offline channels. So Facebook sources are what we kind of talked about, was that Facebook owns these. So for example, a video, you can choose to create a custom audience around people that have watched one of your videos on Facebook or Instagram. You can choose to create an audience around anyone who's filled out a lead form, anyone who has had an incident experience. So this is with a marketing or Facebook marketing partner, but another advanced option. Anyone who has visited or interacted with in any way your profile or ad on Instagram. An audience of people who's interacted with your events on Facebook, and then of course your Facebook page, so your audience or anyone who's followed or interacted with your page. Let's go ahead and click into Customer List to get more details. So all of these options are going to walk you through the various steps. It's here that we talked about the option to import a list for your custom audience. So it's here that you can use a file that includes a customer lifetime value. You can use a file that doesn't include that, or you can import from MailChimp. So if you have a list within MailChimp, they have a specific integration for that. This is your opportunity to really start thinking about the custom audiences you want to build. Who are they? Where are their sources? And what might you create as far as advertisements to start getting in front of them and kind of warming them up to be your audience and eventually create conversions from them. Take some time to determine how you might use that custom audience in your own marketing efforts. Another feature of Facebook is the ability to create a custom audience based strictly on your web traffic. This is often referred to as retargeting or remarketing. And you'll be able to deliver targeted ads to people who have visited your website but have not necessarily provided you with their contact information. You can develop the custom audience by utilizing the Facebook pixel, and that tracks any website that you indicate. You might capture a list of people who browse your website, or perhaps you only want to see people who've seen the confirmation page after they've made a purchase. You can also target people who put an item in their cart but never reached checkout, and that's called cart abandonment. If that's the case, then you might use a Facebook ad to find them, offer them a special deal, and encourage them to come back to your website to make that final purchase. Facebook will also let you refine your website traffic based on pages that people have visited, without the need to install several different tracking codes. To get started, you'll visit the Audience tool from Ads Manager. And you'll find it by selecting the menu at the top left, and you might need to expand. Audiences is found under the Assets column. On this page is where I'll create the custom audience and then go through the website process. So here, we're going to choose Create Audience and then Custom Audience. This is where we're going to be able to choose our source for creating that specific audience. I've already created one as an example, so we're going to simply go back into that audience and take a look at how that was set up. Here we can see the details of this custom audience. Now, this custom audience is set up as a cart abandonment strategy. So at the top where we first add people to our audience, what we have done is we've said that anyone who has visited the specific URL, mywebsite.com/checkout, we want them to be a part of our audience. And now how we're going to capture them is through that Facebook pixel. So that Facebook pixel is firing on that website and it's tracking all the people that have hit that specific URL that I've entered into this location. We can also create more rules. We can add more people, we can exclude people, and you can get as granular as possible. One thing to note is that you want to make sure that you do have enough traffic, that it isn't too specific, that you're not going to create an audience of maybe 10,000 people. So you don't want to be too specific. Below that, we have an exclusion here. And so this is an option where we have decided to exclude anyone who is in the top 5% in the past 30 days. So if you select this down arrow, it's here that we can choose these exclusions. So we can choose all website visitors, people who visited a specific website, or we can track visitors by time spent. So the people that I have excluded are the people that are in the top 5 percentile. It doesn't really make sense. So what we can do is we can simply X out of that. So now I'm choosing to only add people to the audience that have visited this specific page on my website. Below that, we're going to name the audience because this is a cart abandonment audience. We're going to go ahead and name it that. And this is where then we can update the audience, or in your case, if you're creating it, you're going to choose Create. Facebook is then going to let you know whether it's been updated or published. And then it's going to give you a couple options. It's going to say, hey, why don't you create a lookalike audience to this specific custom audience you've created? Or why don't you go ahead and create an ad targeting these people? If I choose Done, it's here that I am going to be entered back onto the main dashboard where I get a great snapshot of everything that's going on with my audiences. There are so many ways that you can begin to work with custom audiences based off of your website's traffic and visitors. And I highly recommend taking some time to play around with this targeting option, especially if you're an online retailer. Begin by setting up your Facebook pixel and start creating these custom audiences for your next marketing initiatives. Many marketers are seeing a lot of success from Facebook's lookalike audience feature. This tool lets you reach new people who are likely to be interested in your brand, product, or website because they're similar to a customer list you've already created. A lookalike audience is built off of an existing custom audience, so you'll need one of those first. To put it into perspective, let's say you've uploaded a list of everyone who's purchased a product from your website. You know that's a good audience because they've converted before. You can then instruct Facebook to create a list of Facebook users who are very similar to the customers that have already converted, and this becomes your lookalike audience. What's great is that your audience won't include any users from your current custom audience. Instead, Facebook will take a look at the similarities between your source audience. They look at things like demographics, interests, and likes. Facebook will also let you decide if you want your lookalike audience to be very specific or quite broad. The smaller the audience, the more precise the match rate will be. To create a custom audience, the first thing to do is to head to our Audiences dashboard in Ads Manager, and you'll find that under the Assets column. Once there, you're going to choose Create Audience and select Lookalike Audience from the drop-down menu. The first step is to select a source. A source can be a custom audience, a conversion tracking pixel, or a custom audience based on current fans of your page. What we can do is we can also see what kind of audiences we've already created. And I'm going to go ahead and choose the Facebook pixel. Next, I'm going to choose the event. So the event represents the consumer intent, and oftentimes it has a value associated with it. Facebook's pushing for us to create a lifetime value or an LTV for our customers. And in marketing terms, this means that every customer is going to be assigned a value, or every action they take will be assigned a value or a monetary amount. So that way you can start seeing your conversions in monetary values. Currently, we're creating a lookalike audience based off of an event, which is a purchase. We also have the option to choose another event. And from the drop-down menu is all the different options that Facebook provides. But we're going to stick with a purchase for this example. Below that, we can search for countries or regions to target. So we're going to keep it pretty open and target the United States. And underneath that, we can choose our audience size. I'm going to go ahead and drag it around to the 4 million mark. So here we've selected an audience size of about 4.7 million people. And there we go. There are some advanced options, and it's just going to break out the estimated reach for the resulting audiences that you've created. I'm going to go ahead and choose Create Audience. Now we've chosen to create the audience, but because our source is too small, we're going to get an error. And that might happen to you when you're first starting out, and because this is just an example. So this means that you might have to select additional audience locations, or you might have to take some time to drive more traffic to your website in order for your Facebook pixel to capture more people that they can put in the pool and Facebook can match a lookalike audience to. Now this is all trial and error, and this is all about growing and scaling. So don't be discouraged at first if your lookalike audience isn't quite taking. Start getting as many people to your website or collecting as many customers in your lists so that you can start creating custom audiences and building lookalike audiences from them. This is an amazing opportunity to create a lookalike audience, so I definitely recommend adding it to your arsenal.